In this video, I'm going to rank every single exotic in Fortnite Reload from worst to best. This list will contain every single exotic that has made an appearance into the Fortnite Reload game mode. And with the launch of Chapter 6 Season 3, we just got a bundle of brand new exotics that were added to Reload, so it felt like a great time to make this video. And if you do go on to enjoy this one and want to see more Reload content from the channel, be sure to leave this video a like, use code TYFRYZ in the Fortnite item shop, and go check out my video where I rank every single mythic in Fortnite Reload. With that all being said, let's get right into this ranking. And my number 14 spot is going to be the dub. I don't really want to waste a lot of time talking about it. I do not like the dub. I don't like an idea of a close quarter shotgun that is pushing me away from my target. It is a shotgun that honestly, I think you're better with literally every other shotgun that has ever been in Fortnite Reload over this thing. It's neat for like, I don't know, decent mobility, I guess. It's the same thing as the flintlock, right? Like, is the flintlock going to be used as a mobility weapon? No, but you know, maybe it can save you from fall damage or something like that. It's just not a desirable exotic, and genuinely all 13 exotics ahead of this are better than it. And one of those at the number 13 spot is the Lawless explosive mammoth pistol. Now, this might come as a surprise to some of you guys because I love the mammoth pistol. I've been an active glazer of the mammoth pistol, and that weapon has been unbelievable in the grand scheme of Fortnite Reload weapons. But I just think that the explosive mammoth pistol, because it is a projectile weapon, feels significantly worse than the regular mammoth pistol. And to be honest with you, I don't think that that's really a hot take either. Like, when this thing was added in the Lawless season, everyone was just taking the regular mammoth pistol over the explosive version because it just feels like the projectile just travels so slowly. Like, you are aimed down sights onto somebody and you shoot the bullet and then it just doesn't hit them. It's really weird. I will always take hit scan weapons over projectile weapons. Of course, you do get the fact that it is explosive, so you know you could do a little splash damage and you will do even more damage than a regular mammoth pistol if you land that body shot. It's a weapon that gets a lot of use when, for example, someone's in a vehicle, but obviously in Fortnite Reload we don't have those vehicles, and obviously that doesn't help the explosive mammoth pistol. My number 12 spot is the Lawless stink rifle. Now, I think this is going to end up being one of those weapons. Obviously, it's only been in Reload for a couple of days that, like, you're going to take if you see it on the ground, especially for like that one-shot headshot potential. I mean, I know a lot of people just love the hunting rifle as it is, but it's not a weapon that you're going to be crazy excited about if you see on the ground, especially considering the fact that I think there are 11 exotics that you'd be better off with. The stink effect is genuinely useless. Like, there's really no other way to say it. At the end of the day, it is just a hunting rifle. And while yes, a lot of people do enjoy the hunting rifle, I think it's a decent weapon. Could I truthfully have put the Lawless stink rifle any higher? I don't think so. Moving on to number 11, that's going to be the Chug cannon. Now, this might be a hot take, and in public battle royale, yes, certainly this would be a low placement for the Chug cannon, but when we're talking about Reload, right, I feel like a lot of people, and of course, correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong, but I know for myself, I like to carry 2 slots of mobility in Reload because mobility is king in that game mode. That's not a secret. Everybody knows that. So typically what I like to do is, right, I'll hold, let's say, an assault rifle, a shotgun, heals, and then 2 mobility items, whether that be, you know, a grappler and shockwaves or, you know, something else. But of course, with the Chug cannon, you no longer can do that because it takes up 2 spots. So you lose one of those mobility spots, which is really, really crucial. And honestly, I find with Reload that everybody else is holding heals and you kill people so frequently that getting refreshed on heals is not that big of a challenge in my opinion. And so yeah, of course, the Chug cannon is a great item, especially when it gets to late game, right, and those respawn stop and you have those infinite heals. But I honestly just feel like in Reload, the mobility is more useful than sacrificing that extra inventory slot. But of course, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. I don't know how this one's going to go over with you guys. And my number 10 spot is the Lawless slap cannon. So basically everything I just said about the Chug cannon being somewhat of a disadvantage for taking up 2 inventory slots, you can say about the slap cannon. Of course, it as well takes up 2 inventory slots, but the Lawless slap cannon, when you use it, gives you, well, the slap ability. And of course, like I just said, mobility is king in Reload, and that's going to help you. And the only downside about the Lawless slap cannon is that it has durability. That's a problem in a long game of Battle Royale, but in Reload, I feel like you're just not going to run out of durability for this thing. I know, you know, that might be a hot take for sure, and nobody really knows the answer because it's only been in the game, or at least in Reload, for about, what, 3 days now as of recording this. But seriously, it's like, how many times are you going to use the Lawless slap cannon before you inevitably die, right? Are you going to use it, you know, 25 times for that durability to be totally run out? I think that's really, really unlikely, and so yeah, it just gets 1 spot higher than the Chug cannon for those reasons. At number 9 is the Heisted Heisted Run and Gun SMG. Now, genuinely, I've never been a big fan of this weapon, but in reload, obviously, you get the advantage of the increased mobility when you're using this weapon, the infinite sprint. And I think especially when it comes to those late games, or especially if you play zero build reload, you're gonna feel the value here. But like I said, like in those late games when, everyone kind of runs out of their mobility, this is something that, you're certainly gonna feel the effects of this weapon. The, regular weapon itself, the P90, I guess you could call it, it's all right. Like, it's inaccurate, great fire rate, okay damage. It's your close quarters SMG. I'm not really too crazy about it, but the mobility is honestly what keeps it high up on this list, or at least higher than the previous 5 weapons I've talked about. Moving on to number 8 is the Heisted Breacher Shotgun, and I just talked about this in my ranking of every single Chapter 4 exclusive weapon, so go check that video out. It's a banger. And as I said in that video, I think it, pertains to reload as well. It is a high-risk, high-reward weapon. It is a slug shotgun, which is incredibly difficult to use, especially with the mobility that is just unbelievable in reload. But being able to instantly take anybody's wall or jump in anybody's box, that is always going to be useful. And the damage here is unbelievable. Every time you hit a shot, you are hitting for big-time damage numbers. And while I think there is another exotic shotgun that is much, much better, and I would prefer 10 over 10 times instead of the Heisted Breacher shotgun, this is a pretty good shotgun. This is still a serviceable weapon and can be one of the best in the right hands. At the number 7 spot is going to be the Shadow Tracker. I have been on this weapon side for years, right? Like, I genuinely believe this is a really, really good pistol. It is probably in the top 5 territory, and I feel like that recon ability, right, of marking anybody who you hit is kind of like exacerbated in reload, right, because you have such good mobility and the map is a lot smaller, so it's like anybody who you hit with the Shadow Tracker, most of the time you just end up going to push them. Whereas in the situation where if you hit that player with a weapon that wasn't the Shadow Tracker and, you couldn't follow them, well, maybe you wouldn't go after them. But yeah, like I said, I think this is a fair spot for it, right at the 50% mark. At number 6 is the Heisted Explosive Assault Rifle. And hear me out, I know I just ripped the Lawless Mammoth pistol for it being a projectile weapon, which of course the Heisted Explosive AR is. But with this weapon, it feels like you're able to cause a ton of chaos and put on a ton of pressure on players. Like, you can seriously overwhelm somebody. If you've ever been in a box and you get shot at by this weapon, you just hear the explosive just boom, boom, boom over and over again on your box. And if even one of those bullets slips in, of course, you can get hit by splash damage. And, if you get hit by 2 or 3, your shield's gone. And God forbid, if you get direct impacted by 3 of these shots, your just whole life is going to be depleted. And I think the fact that it is a red eye weapon, right, the fact that it has that red dot scope gives it a ton of value in reload when players are often just flying across the map with shockwave grenades. But at my number 5 spot today, guys, it's going to be the Blink Mag SMG. This is the exotic version of the Twin Mag. And yeah, I don't really have to keep repeating myself. Mobility is king in reload. I mean, seriously, if someone can comment how many times I've said mobility in this video, that would be fantastic. And besides, the Twin Mag just being a really, really good SMG, you get the Blink Mag effect, which I think is one of the best bodily effects we've ever seen in Fortnite. Like, that dash and being able to close the gap so quickly on players is really, really good. And like I said earlier, not to mention that, let's say you run out of all your mobility in endgame, well, you just shoot this thing, reload, and there's your free rotation. Unfortunately, it can't really be used in a panic, right? Like, I feel like this is just an all-around really, really solid weapon. It's got the mobility going for it. It's got the good damage. It's got the quick reload speed. It's got the good accuracy. It's just, I don't really have a lot of complaints here. Moving on to number 4, that's going to be the Hop Rock Dualies. And in Battle Royale, these weapons typically are kind of in the midpoint of the list, but here in this list, they are inside the top 4, and that is for one specific reason. Obviously, the Hop Rock effect is good for, let's say saving yourself from fall damage or, just sprint jumping to zone, but everybody holds shockwave grenades in reload. We all know that. Well, how about shooting the Hop Rock Dualies and then throwing a shockwave grenade at your feet? Well, now you're going to go twice as far as a regular shockwave grenade. It is the ultimate mobility combination, and that is why it is so far up on this list. Like, yeah, sure, right? Dual pistols are good weapons, but you're using this item to pair it with these shockwave grenades, in my opinion, and that to me is where the true value of the Hop Rock Dualies lies in reload. And all right, we are inside the top 3, and we've got a healing item here at the number 3 spot. It is the Lawless Slap Jug. So if you guys saw in my ranking every mythic in reload history, I ranked Ocean's Bottomless Chug Jug in dead last place. Sorry to spoil that video if you haven't seen it, but that makes sense, right? Because you can't walk and use this item, and you can't use, 50 and then put it away. You have to sit still for 50 13 seconds, and yeah, we all know that ain't happening in Reload. But with the Lawless Slap Jug, well, now everything changes. You can use, 25, 30, 100 of your heals, and then just keep this thing stowed in your back pocket, and you get 400 effective health. This will end up being one of the best healing items in Fortnite Reload history, and it only takes one inventory slot, right? So like if you had the Lawless Slap Jug, the Chug Cannon, and the Slap Cannon in front of you, yeah, I would 100% recommend you take the Slap Jug. I think you're going to end up seeing this thing everywhere once people start to get their hands on it. And yeah, to me, this was a lock to be inside the top 3. It's a really good addition to Reload. But at my number 2 spot is going to be the Lawless Shockwave RPG. Is it a surprise it's this high up on the list? Absolutely not. To me, when this weapon came out in Chapter 6, Season 2, it had Fortnite Reload written all over it. Like, I just already picture it in my head, somebody flying around the endgame with seemingly infinite shockwave grenades. The value of this weapon in Reload, I've said it throughout the entire video, is you just have such good mobility, and not to mention you do have a rocket launcher. Like, it will give you that 55 to 60 damage a shot on somebody. You can send them into zone, do whatever. But with shockwave grenades, as we all know, right, like you're capped by the fact that you can only hold 6 of them. But for the shockwave RPG, it's like, yeah, you are capped by the amount of rockets that you can hold, but you're going to be killing people so frequently that, getting rocket refreshes isn't really going to be that much of a problem. And that's the only weak point of this weapon. And honestly, you could make an argument for this to be at the number 1 spot. This thing is going to destroy in Reload. But at my number 1 spot today, guys, and it shouldn't really be a surprise, it is the Heisted Accelerant Shotgun. That is the exotic Maven. It is the best weapon on this list. Like, I don't really know how else to put it. It is one of the best shotguns of all time, and there is a way to make an argument that this is the best shotgun in Fortnite history. And yeah, while you don't get something like the mobility benefits of some of the other exotics on this list, you just get an absolute bulldozer of a shotgun, and you really feel the benefit in those, duo Fortnite Reload matches where you're going to be needing to chain 2, 3, 4, 5 shots back to back. The Heisted Accelerant it almost feels like borderline overpowered. And to me, it's one of those weapons where it's like, you hear that fire rate, right? Like, you hear it being quicker than any shotgun in the game. You know it's the Heisted Accelerant shotgun, and everyone is going to push for that shotgun because they all want it themselves. In my opinion, it's a pretty easy number 1 spot today. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into yet another Fortnite Reload video. If you guys want to see more Reload content, be sure to leave this video a like so I know you guys enjoyed it, because I've got a couple more Reload ideas that you guys are going to want to see. If you did go on to enjoy this video, be sure to leave it a like, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. As always, peace.